Good afternoon, YouTube! Alloy pellets. Let's talk about these things, shall we? You saw the title. All right, so that's an 8-grain Prometheus pellet. They don't make them anymore, at least not that I can find. The lightest I think I found was about 9.7, like a Gamma Raptor, and in the 177 cal is about a 4 point something grain. It wasn't 4.5 because I haven't even found a 4.5 grainer yet. And the 177 version of the UMX Primex uses 4.5 minimum grain pellet to achieve whatever speed. The 22 caliber side, it's 11.9 grain. Anyways, is what the rifle they rated for 900 feet per second in lead, and in alloy pellet, which they didn't give a weight for, you can achieve an extra 100 feet per second, so 1,000 topside. Anyway, alloy pellets have been notoriously known over the years to be no problem whatsoever with the following power plants: CO2, pump up pneumatic, PCP. Now we also have a new system called nitro air, which is like the same idea as an 88-gram paintball tank. You screw it into the gun. Now, I don't know anything about nitro air yet. I haven't really looked into them much. It's a new tech, or well, new to me at least. But they wouldn't be harmed by a super light alloy pellet, okay? Now, where the harm comes in is to the power plant, okay? The rest of the gun will be fine, don't worry about it. But in spring-powered rifles and nitro pistons, when hyper pellets hit the market, they were extreme light, okay? And for a little while, we did have some issues with the RCMP getting their tits in a knot, but then they finally backed off on us and said, well, you're not modifying the gun. The gun is still shooting under 5 with lead pellets the way it was made for. These are just lightweight, and it's making your gun go 500, 600, 700 feet per second, but you don't even have any energy. So you're not meeting the criteria for POW rated. We're going to leave you alone. This is what it bottomed out as. Now, spring-powered rifles and nitro piston rifles. Okay, now I have a nitro piston POW rated one, so over 500 obviously. Whether it was a POW rated or non-POW, the alloy pellets would destroy the power plants, okay? And it could happen as much as the first shot, could happen on shot 10, shot 20. Either way, it's doomed to get destroyed. And I still don't trust alloy pellets, even though they're not making the same lowest weight categories anymore, at least that I can find, okay? However, I still don't trust them, and they still have the same other drawbacks regardless, okay? And those drawbacks, without looking at how much they can wreck your gun prematurely, and they will, okay, I do believe they will. But the worst problems with any power plant of nitro piston and Springer and all the other power plants combined together running alloy pellets, putting the destruction part aside on nitro piston and Springers, is you have less accuracy, you have less energy, though you do have more speed. But that also means with less energy, even with the more speed, you reduce your distance, your effective distance with that pellet. So yeah, it's kind of really not ideal. All right, so, but hey, you know what? People who want to allegedly save the environment by switching from lead pellets to alloy, knock your socks off. Just keep in mind that if you're shooting these through a Springer or a nitro piston gun, you're going to be replacing seals, maybe even pistons, okay? And you're going to be doing it quite often compared to somebody who could go a decade or more and thousands of rounds on the exact same gun before having to even worry about a piston seal, okay? This is where the differences lie, okay? So as far as those two power plants go. But just rest assured that you will not harm the other power plants whatsoever, but you will get the same results in the end when it comes to the whole energy output and accuracy capability, because there's not a lot of options out there, and an air gun is no different than a firearm. They choose the bullet or the pellet that they're going to fire the best with. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now, groups like this are unacceptable. Groups like this are acceptable. Okay, so that's the difference, right? And if you're hunting with a pellet gun, you don't want groupings like this or like this. You want them like this, because you want to be able to ethically, you know, put the thing out of its misery so you can eat it. You know what I mean? And if you're just doing pest control and not eating, either way, you still need to have ethical kill shots and one shot. So you need to have the proper stuff. Now, in the non-PAL aspect, or under 500 feet per second air guns, you do require 22 caliber to ethically take down grouse, small brown squirrels, rabbits, gophers. You can do that all within 10 to upwards to probably about 15, 16-ish yards, okay, ethically. Much past that, you may need a second shot, okay? Kind of depends, right? It depends on your air gun, depends on the ammo, depends on the weight of the pellet, along with its speed, okay? So, but with a PAL-rated air gun, it's not such a big deal. You can go upwards to 55 yards with a lot of PAL-rated 22s and ethically take out, you know, even more options for small game than just, you know, your bunny rabbits, gophers, small squirrels, and, you know, grouse, right? Or for some of you Americans, the word partridge, okay? Now, we do have some partridge in Canada, but we mainly spruce grouse and ruffed grouse, you know, stuff like that, those kind of birds, you know. And there are some things we can't hunt with a 22 cal, obviously, even for small game, because, well, it's just not enough horsepower or ethical, or you have to use a shotgun, for example, okay? Anyhow, point taken. So, if you're going to use these suckers, just if you're using nitro power, nitro piston, or springers, just listen to your gun on its normal pellets that it uses for lead, and listen to what happens when you fire these, and feel the gun's vibrational difference. That gun will tell you if it's not happy, okay? And of course, your results downrange are definitely going to tell you what's going to be going on with those pellets too for accuracy capability, because they really do suck. But it is up to you. It is your choice. Do as you want with your own stuff. I like to play things safe nowadays, but I will promise you this. They don't tell me my minimum pellet weight for this gun for alloy, but we do have enough of these 8-grain Prometheus. We can do an alloy test for you without me having to pork out extra money that I don't really feel like spending anyways. I don't find it necessary. But we will test alloy, and I do have 11.9 grain pellets that they rate this thing at 900 for. And I do have right up to 21 grain Barracudas. Okay, we will test them all when I can get it to the range with my gun next time, and we'll set up the chronograph. We'll shoot you a video of the speeds we're getting, and we'll tell you exactly what pellets we're using, etc., etc. And we'll probably run maybe a 6-shot string of each one, because I think that's more realistic, and we'll see what our scores end up being like with that. But that'll be the only time that we ever shoot alloy through that gun, because I really still don't trust alloy pellets at all. So, and we will do the alloys after we've tested the lead, and then we'll retest a couple of leads just to see if these in fact did do any damage to my gun at all, because we will know right away if they did. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Stay tuned for more. We got some more stuff coming up on the 1377. We got to crony that as well. And then I want to take it apart and see what makes it tick on this new version, because it's been 4 years, and I want to see if Crossman's made any changes with the internals, because when I pumped it up 10 times and pulled the trigger, it had one hell of a crack out of it for being non-PAL. So I'm kind of wondering if they actually made some more feasible changes, and still keeping it under that 500 feet per second for what it's supposed to be at. So anyway, Then I get to turn it into a 22 cal. And then I got something for grouse hunting in the backyard while I'm waiting for my deer to show up. So in the meantime, thanks again. See ya.